Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 5 series that was played during the StarCraft 2 World Championships. Now what I've got for you today is supposed to be an excellent series of Protoss versus Terran, a best of 5 series where in game number 1 we find ourselves on good old Crimson Court once again. I feel like I've been casting a lot of games on Crimson Court as of late. Spotting right here in the top right hand corner, playing with the red Protoss pieces from the United States of America. We have none other than Astrea. His opponent down in the bottom left, playing with the blue SCVs. He's from South Korea, and he goes by the name of ByuN's. Astrea, taking on ByuN's. Now, both of these players, of course, absolute channel favorites. A lot of fun to watch, mostly because they're not afraid to mix it up. The top level players, sometimes they can play the game in almost like a boring fashion where they do the same thing over and over and over again. ByuN's and Astrea, very good at the game. I wouldn't really consider them to be like top 5 contenders right now though, and they do tend to mix it up a lot more because of that, and I think it's a lot of fun to watch. Now, I heard that this series is a banger, haven't seen the games yet, so... Already, Astrea is calling the bluff. Look at this. This is already a mind game and a half right now. So ByuN's is going for a double barracks outside of his main base. This is a little bit weird. Small commitment here by the Terran player, but the idea is that Astrea goes across the map, he scouts the main base, and he sees, oh snap, there's nothing over here. Better prepare for a potential Marauder all-in, right? But now that he sees that the barracks are right over here, well, it can't really be a Marauder all-in. It has to basically always be a Reaper opener. It's gonna be a little bit funky here, but Astrea, right from the get-go, manages to call the bluff. I always like that. So he doesn't really have to over-prepare. Sometimes you get into the main base of the Terran and you see nothing and you start freaking out a little. Because ByuN's certainly is the type of guy who will be happy to march early game units straight into your natural expansion. Are we gonna even get a Zealot? Nah, didn't bother getting a Zealot. Just straight Stalker. We are gonna go straight into the... Oh, no, we're canceling it. Okay, he canceled the Warp Gate research. He still has the gas in the bank right now. Probably just wants to get more stuff for the main base defense. Decided to spend some of that money here on the shield battery. Okay, looks like the Reapers are gonna be deflected now. I have cat aggro. 1 second, my cat wants out. I see a cat looking at me from my peripheral vision. He's like, human, open the door. Listen to me, servant. I am here, staring at your head. Open the door immediately. I did it, I did it. Yes, your highness. Yes, your highness. All right, sentry on the back of this too, after a double stalker. And we have the good old robo facility on the back of this. My cats used to hang out with me all the time. And now that they're a little bit older, they're like, you know what, this was fun. I like hanging out in this room until you started talking loudly. I liked it better when you didn't talk, human. Thank you, Milo. Love you too, buddy. Alright, so. We have the little probe still being a nuisance. Ultimately, though, the command center, of course, finishes up. And we have some skill checks left, right, and center. But all of this is looking quite normal. We have a 2-on-1 here for ByuN's, so he decided to fly those 2 barracks back into the main base. That was, of course, the original plan right here from the Terran player. Just make the small little lift off and hope that the Protoss in the meantime overreacted on the other side of the map. Reapers haven't really gotten any value yet, though. And they're gonna go straight after the Stalker. I quite like it. There is a battery over here inside of the main base mineral line. He doesn't quite need it yet. Sentry is nice because Astrea is gonna be able to use that for some scouting. The main problem, though, with going for the sentry is that he doesn't really have a whole lot available here as far as the tech goes. So, no Stargate, no Twilight Council. Instead, what he's done is go for a robo facility straight into a robo bay. That's a little weird. We'll have to keep an eye out on exactly what the plan is. He's decided to go into an Immortal first, so I would imagine we're going to be seeing Colossi on the back of this. Can technically go into like a Disruptor drop opener as well if you really want to, but yeah, he's probably just gonna go straight into a Colossus, and then he's gonna extend his thermal lens. Come on, you gotta do it, Astrea. Oh no, we're actually gonna go first into the Twilight Council. He will extend the lens soon. No worries, no worries. Now you can of course always mine out these right side mineral fields here on Crimson Court and go for a nice tucked away expansion over here, which is gonna make life a little bit better. You know what, maybe these probes are accidentally gonna stumble upon that medevac too, that is currently going across. No, he doesn't see it. Nexus does start up, but this is going to be a distraction at the front with the Reapers and then straight into a couple of Widow Mines. Lifted off from the other side of the map. One of them goes down. Only a handful of probes though, nothing all too crazy. Just the two of them. This has been excellent defense here from Astrea. I really like what he's doing. The main problem, I guess, here for Astrea is that he hasn't gone for an opener that can really slow down the Terran player. So, no quick blink. I mean, blink is coming, but this is not very fast. No oracles. It basically means that he is allowing the Terran player to do whatever they like. And what Terrans like to do is make men with guns. Right? Now, they always like doing that, but in this particular instance, ByuN hasn't really been slowed down at all. And the nice thing about those men with guns is that they get a lot better when they get upgrades. So, you can make loads of them. The +1 infantry attacks is going to finish up, and since those numbers will not really be reduced much, those Marines are going to hit very, very hard. He gets the snipe on the Observer, saw the little blur, decided to scan for it. I don't mind it. Honestly though, with a Colossus build like this, it's really quite difficult for ByuN to get much damage in. Medevac is very low, but it is going to get one more Widow Mine drop. Should be an easy pull. No, he wanted to retarget onto the Colossus. Careful now. Alright, he gets it. He gets it. In the meantime, a third command center starts up on location. Now, this is the Protoss versus Terran equivalent of 10 minutes no rush. They're still doing aggression, right? They're still trying to play mind games. They're still trying to be annoying. But ultimately, this isn't really a very committed opener by either of them. We have some skill checks every once in a while. If, of course, you deal significant amounts of damage with, for example, a Widow Mine drop, well, then suddenly Terran could go for a push. But Astrea defended that as perfectly as he could have. Didn't really make any mistakes, and he once more decides... I feel like I've seen so many games lately of Astrea going very quick Dark Templar. This man loves his Dark Templar. Is this what happens when you play on the North American server for too many games? You just turn into a Dark Templar enjoyer? Not all heroes wear capes, but Astrea certainly does. Alright, he finally gets rid of those pesky little Reapers. What I like about the Astrea Dark Templar, though, as of late, is that he's not really using them as a cheesy opener, right? He's not really rushing them out to try and, you know, catch the opponent off guard and just straight up win the game. He's playing, I guess, what do we call them? Macro Dark Templar? He's using them like an upgraded Zealot. Like a Zealot that is 10 times more expensive. Okay, maybe not 10 times more. Nice little drop over here from ByuN, though. Kills 6 probes and gets out of there. He does have Blink, but not enough Stalkers. In the meantime, we have a Liberator trying to be annoying inside of the main base, too. Nice little bit of multi-pronged aggression here from ByuN, who's now going to make the transition to go towards the good old Ghost. All right. Marauders are going to get their upgrades. We'll probably see a armory in just a moment if we don't already have one. We don't already have one. But I'm fully expecting that we are going to be seeing that here momentarily. Fourth command center starts up, yeah. So ByuN is basically saying, yo, let's play the game where we both just make a bunch of structures, and then we're both going to make straight tier 3 units. And Astrea is saying, yo, I'll make Colossi. ByuN says, great, I'll make some Ghosts, and we'll go from there. Dark Templar are being warped in. They're currently hiding inside of the Prism. There's already Vikings patrolling back and forth, so ByuN is going to be able to pick this up easy peasy. And that is straight down the drain.
Ghost reporting.
Ghost reporting. A couple SCVs do end up taking some damage. There's observers going around. We have some DTs, a couple of units just trying to distract ByuN. But ultimately, those losses are very, very minimal. Astrea going for this base as his fourth is kind of curious. Usually you would see this base taken, or the one right over here. He's mining out all of the skinny mineral fields around his side of the map. And he's gone for the faraway expansion. Now, Terrans sometimes tend to autopilot a little bit at this level, I've noticed. They just kind of do the thing that always works best. So there's a very good chance that ByuN is never going to be checking for this base, even though it's technically quite easy for him to clean up. Are we gonna mine out the mineral fields over there? Well, this... Oh, ByuN just moved! Well then, this could get really awkward. ByuN, I mean, he could technically notice that little mineral field disappear on the minimap, but that is not something you really look out for, right? I mean, that's a little... Yeah, it's a little grayish, whitish patch on the minimap that's disappearing. It's very different than suddenly something red popping up on the radar. That's so funny. So what's the plan here, Astrea? I guess we're gonna send in Dark Templar. We're gonna send in Zealots through that... Yeah, we already have a bunch of them hanging out. That's an insanely random timing right there. Now... Ooh. This is very far forward. The force fields are perfect. But Astrea needs to be careful that he doesn't accidentally take a fight when he's significantly behind in supply. Alright, well now suddenly ByuN will realize that something is a little bit fishy as there's a whole load of probes opening up the front door. Here we go. The welcoming committee of the Zealots is here. Yeah, this was the most obvious run-by ever. That was about, you know, a minute and a half in the making. So Astrea decides to go back home. But of course, you can't put the mineral fields back. In the meantime, inside of the main base of ByuN, he's decided to go into the fusion core. +3, +2 is going to finish up here momentarily for Astrea. And he's thinking about going around the site here, now using that wide open space to just maneuver in with his whole army. ByuN, of course, sees this again, coming in from a mile away. Does he have the units in the right position, though? Because even though this is one of the most obvious fights, we have a disruptor flank coming in as well. Nice detonations here. Zealots do disconnect or disengage for just a second, but even though this is one of the most obvious angles to attack in, it's not really something that ByuN considered. ByuN thought we were dancing in the middle of the map. There's 14 gateways currently available, so he's going for a mass reinforce very rapidly. Stargate coming up. I think this is Astrea getting ready for the transition towards a mothership. He's been a big fan of mothership play in this sort of situation lately, where he's just... I guess that's what I've been liking about Astrea's games. He's been going for a lot of Dark Templar in macro games, and he's been going for a lot of motherships as well. Just getting a ton of value out of units that are considered to be good, but he's certainly enjoying them more than other players out there at the highest level. It's so much chaos. Now, ultimately, the plan right here for ByuN is to go into a whole load of ghosts and then also a whole load of liberators. Liberators with ranged, incredibly powerful. The advanced ballistics upgrade has just started researching. And the idea is that if you get about 20 of those bad boys, you can't really lose the fight on the ground. Now, once more, Astrea is going in for quite a committed attack. Gets a couple of decent Novas. Okay. Yeah, of course. ByuN is known as Micro Jackson. Micro Jordan? Depends on where you're from, I suppose. But anyways, he's very good at microing his Terran units. I do have to say, though, he's been losing a few more troops than we ordinarily see from him. He's had quite a few Marauders and a couple of Ghosts caught up in those Novas. Obviously, I'm being very critical here, but I have seen ByuN micro a bit better than what he's been doing here so far. There's the mothership. Disruptor. Yeah. So Astrea likes to stick around on a ground-based army. Will he be going into Tempest? Because there's a couple of different ways in which you can counter these Liberators. Either you go for Stalkers or just a very mobile army in general and you try to run circles around the Terran. Because obviously those Libs, they have to siege up. Or you go into a Tempest or maybe even a carrier transition of your own. Usually though, when Terran is already making a lot of those Liberators and they already have a bunch of them out, if Protoss at that point starts up the Skytools transition, it feels like it's already too late. Now, great scan right here from ByuN. He reveals exactly what the follow-up plan is, and he realizes that the mobility indeed will be the weapon of choice here for Astrea. So we'll see him using that warp-in mechanic. He can teleport towards the bottom right. He can, well, move towards the left side as well with a mass recall towards the mothership. There's been a lot of creative movement lately. I feel like this is one of those parts of top-level StarCraft where we have seen Protoss players get better over the last few years, but they haven't really quite reached the absolute limits yet. I feel like there are still more mobility possibilities, and Astrea has been experimenting with that a lot. So a lot of mass recall, a lot of recalls towards Nexi as well, and just a lot of teleportation around the map. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point that becomes like just the norm. I really believe that that is one of the unexplored territories of StarCraft 2. It's kind of like when Zerg players didn't really play with Burrow very much. Burrow is a no-brainer these days. Very good. Kind of feel like it's similar as well for the Mama ships. Now we do have some nice Novas being bowled forward here. Astrea, very well known for his bowling skills. It's big in California, right? Bowling? I don't know. I know he's from California, that's all I know. And he loves disruptors. I know there's a lot of American movies about bowling, but I have no idea how popular bowling actually is. I watched a movie at some point. What's that one called? It's about this Amish guy who turns out to be really good at bowling. It's a comedy. Very fun movie. Kingpin is what I'm thinking? Not 100% sure. I loved that movie when I was a kid, even though I didn't really understand the jokes. I watched it again like 10 years ago, and there's a lot of really messed up jokes in that movie that I certainly did not quite understand when I was younger. Yeah, with Woody Harrelson. Anyways, that's how I picture Astrea in this game, whenever he's launching one of those Purification Novas. Trying to bowl a strike on all of those Terran units, but sadly here for the Terran player, or I guess for the Protoss player rather, the pins can move in this game. Ay, ay, ay. It only works when the pins don't move. So we're playing the big macro match now. Protoss, generally speaking, expands a lot more aggressively. So Astrea taking this base as his fourth may actually be a really big play in the long run. Because when you think about it, right? So we have another engagement over here. We'll talk about it a bit more after this fight. Can we have some Novas here on the left? My god. He's launching multiple balls all at the same time, but ByuN has gone for the ultimate defense with double planetary fortress. I actually love the double planetary. That is really fun. Anyways, if you draw a diagonal line, right, from this section of the map all the way towards the top left through the mini-map, because we do have... Woo! Okay, fine, I'll talk about it later. We have a mass recall into the main base. Astrea has decided that it is indeed time for the full mobility. Time warp on the ramp makes it really difficult for these Terra units to get into the main. 50% movement speed reduction, 50% attack speed as well. The Novas are absolutely amazing. Great play. He's gonna recall the majority of that army once again out. Mama is sadly gonna hide in the corner and, well, probably die. Yeah, that's, yeah. Great movement here though by Astrea. Oh no, is she gonna get tickled to death by Liberators? That's sad. The saddest thing I've ever seen. Alright. Anyways. These bases for ByuN are difficult to acquire, which is what I'm getting at, right? This base at the bottom is sort of manageable, but I feel like the one in the top left, the base that is in the mirrored location, the one that Astrea took at his fourth, I think that this base is practically impossible for ByuN. So, the longer that this goes on, the more I like this for Astrea. He should find himself with probably a full expansion up on the opponent. So you can trade cost inefficiently all you want. I don't think ByuN is gonna have an easy time making up for a full expansion disadvantage. Now, this is great though here, by the South Korean Terran, using those Liberators for perfect zoning. He kills that base that Terran, well, has been bothered with for quite a long time. Astrea trying to find an angle here. He's gonna knock down the rocks to allow himself more mobility, but I don't see him really taking a proper fight in this section of the map right now, although he may be thinking otherwise. Marauders and Ghosts did jump over the Terran units, so that's nice. But they are also dead, so that's a little suboptimal. We are gonna try and do a Skytoss transition. Skytoss together with Sonic Storm. The Step Mothership is coming up. Astrea is gonna try and take that base. That is probably ByuN's. He doesn't really mind. He likes going around the map. Yeah, so this is a difficult one, I think, for both players to acquire, which would suit Astrea just fine. If he can mine this base and his opponent will never get this one, obviously he's gonna end up with a lot more stuff. So if we look here at the units lost, yes, Terran is trading slightly better, I would say, but not by much. Here's another recall again on some of the units towards the top section of the map. It's gonna be critical. Whoever gets that base in the top left is gonna be at an advantage. If neither player is gonna get that base, it'll be Astrea who's at an advantage. So a little bit of long distance mining. I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna see another double planetary here at the front. We have scans all over the map. A random scan here to see if there's a mothership hiding in the corner. She's on their way! She's coming! Should have scanned a little later, ByuN. We're gonna see another recall towards the bottom of the map. He keeps scanning, by the way. I keep seeing the little on the mini-map. In the meantime, we're doing a little bit of bowling at the front. This is nicely done, though, by ByuN, who's trying to create a move here on that base. He really wants to secure that location. In the meantime, well, she's not really hiding anymore. She is going straight into the middle of all of these Terran structures. And once more, a time warp in the choke point. I love the place. I think it's a no-brainer, man. I think in the next year or so of StarCraft 2, we're gonna see this sort of play a lot more. I don't think that one was quite optimal. I don't think we've really reached the maximum usefulness yet. Oh my god, nice splits there by ByuN in the end. That was still a little costly, but he gets most of the disruptors. I really think we haven't seen the limitations yet of the mama ship. I really think there's more. Anyways, Tempests are coming. One of the most awkward units in the game. Protoss players have been using it a little bit more as of late as well. There is Storm now, by the way. Because of the ghost, he's been a little hesitant about making Storm happen. This expansion will be killed one more time here. ByuN has never tried to retake this base here at the bottom. I wonder if that one is easier for him, but he's really got his eyes set over here, and Astrea knows that he cannot let this base happen. So he needs to try and deny this ASAP. Already, ByuN's army is on the run. Purification Novas here used for zoning. Liberators, though, used for the same thing. But of course, that's why those Tempests are here, to try and get rid of those libs. It takes, I believe, 5 shots of Tempest to kill a single Liberator. We have a bit of a fight as well in the middle of the map. A recall is going to be used to push back that Marauder hit squad. But this is going to give ByuN more time now to really set up shop over here in the top left. He's going to go for a whole load of missile turrets. He's going to build a planetary fortress. Look at that, 7 missile turrets to secure this location, 8 missile turrets. There is also such a thing as investing too much into a setup like this. But he needs it. He needs it, and he's ready to make the call. That being said, if he now loses this position, I think he effectively loses the game, because ByuN has got all of his money on this site right now. Astrea still with loads of resources in the bank. The problem, of course, here for the Protoss is that he doesn't know how many resources ByuN currently has. He knows it's got to be less than him, but by how much? In the meantime, massive group of zealots. Apparently, we have an officer as well in the Dark Templar leading this party. Some big storms going down. Okay, Vikings are being taken care of. Shield battery overcharge has been quite nice, but ByuN is doing a great job with the zoning, with the Vikings and everything else. But still, it's taken him a long time. This fight honestly feels a little unnecessary. I don't even think ByuN really needs to be here. A lot of probes have been pushed away, but he's thinking if I can shut down this base, if I can shut down the mining over here, I am going to be able to pull ahead quite easily in the economical department. In the meantime, though, we do have that big Zealot Dark Templar run by at the bottom of the map. There may be some Liberators set up, but it's trying to kill like a group of Zorklings, you know? It's similar. You just have too many Zealots here. Yes, eventually the Libs would do a great job, but, well, all of those Zealots are slicing up everything. 18 probes have gone down. New expansion in the far bottom right. The previous 4th base of the Protoss is being resecured. Is there enough for Astrea to continue the aggression up here? He's got 20 gateways, so he could drop his money very rapidly. He can very easily remax. He doesn't really want to do that, though. No, he doesn't want to quickly remax. He's trying to make a more sturdy army. So he's going into the Tempest instead. ByuN doesn't have a lot of cash, so after playing a lot of fancy units and Liberators and a whole lot of Ghosts, he's decided to go back to Marines and Marauders, because that's honestly all he can afford. Army-wise, they have been relatively even for most of the game. Resources lost-wise, it's slightly in favor of the Terran, but I believe income-wise, yeah. Throughout this entire game so far, Astrea has been slightly ahead. So we're trying to balance about 4 different skills right now, and it's hard to say who really pulls ahead here. Astrea is saying, okay, you can have that base in the top left. I don't think I can really deny it. ByuN looks at it, and he realizes, okay, you're gonna take that expansion in the bottom then, the one that I tried to mine previously. If that's the case, I will try and take the mirrored location on the other side of the map. That's why he's starting up a command center over here. The Grand Mothership is coming up as well. After that, I run out of ideas. We have the Mothership, the Step Mothership, the Grand Mothership. Sometimes we see 5 Mama ships in a game. At some point, I guess we go back to the good old Mama ship again. The Viking count has been climbing up, though. We're talking, well, now 11, but about 13 when I started that sentence. With enough Vikings, the Tempest can be shut down really hard. And obviously, Vikings, when landed on the ground, still do really well. Against mechanical units in particular. Oh, big storm. A massive storm. Woo! Jeez, I don't think you could have had much more value out of a single storm than that. Look at this guy. He doesn't look at explosions. He's too cool for that. He's one of the cool guys. Props to ByuN for not accidentally losing half of his army. Very easy for that to happen when you're playing against Storm, but also Disruptors, and the Protoss seems to be everywhere. Where's Grandma? Okay, Grandma is taking a nap on the right side of the map. Oh, she's moving in. We'll have to look back in about 20 seconds when Grandma finally arrives. She's a little slow, but she's trying. And you know what? That's what really counts. By the way, let me just point out that this is game number 1 in a best of 5. This is looking like it's gonna be a very long series. If every game is gonna be like this, I'm gonna need to get myself some more coffee. Astrea shuts down the command center, though, that was just freshly produced over here. For some reason, ByuN decided to move it to that location. Completely uncontested, like unhelped. He just flew it over there. Little ambitious, and he did indeed pay the price. He does still have more orbital commands. Yeah, he's got quite a few. I wouldn't mind seeing him maybe move one of those in. Even though, well, we are running out of stuff. Even though it's technically a little risky to not be planting a planetary there. Oh, instead what we're doing is we're just building a command center on location. This is right next to where Protoss is set up, and this is one of the easiest kills for Astrea. But at the same time, I don't really see Astrea assuming here that Terran is going to be making a play like that. In the meantime, though, in the opposite location on the map, we have a lot of minerals being dumped here into static defense. He's just trying to build up whatever he can before ByuN notices. The sensor tower has been destroyed a little while ago, but ByuN did see that a Nexus was building a little bit ago. Okay. This expansion, by the way, is not very relevant anymore for Astrea, so he doesn't really have to be too invested in that. We have 3 additional command centers. 29 minutes into the game, we have 3 more command centers on the production tab. A couple of cloaked ghosts over here trying to be annoying. The Stalkers and the Zealots will fall back. Now ByuN realizes that something here is a little bit fishy, and he has his eyes set on this side of the map. Astrea has a large amount of units, but it's completely on the other side right now. But obviously you can recall towards either the mothership or to to the Nexus, and we're gonna go into nukes. Jeez Louise, that's the only thing we're missing, I guess. Nukes and battle cruisers. No, we're not gonna get battle cruisers, no way. But a nice little nuke would be good. Okay, well, he does kill the disruptors, but he has to run through the storms to get that to happen. That was a costly play right there from ByuN. He loses the command center as it burns down. I don't think these fights are very good, ByuN. It's just, well, a low-tier Terran army. All of the Liberators have been cleared out, and that suddenly means that Astrea can have a much easier time contesting with all of this. What was supposed to be an attack onto the Protoss base is now a fight that is taking place in the middle of the map, away from all the static defense and, well, the high Templar as well. That is not a location that can easily be broken. I think Astrea should probably secure the gases, but in the meantime, this base over here from ByuN has now become super important and he can't hold on to it. ByuN is bleeding out. He doesn't have resources anymore. I'm surprised he made it go like a nuke. Nuke is 100 minerals, 100 gas. It's not super expensive, but it doesn't look like something he can actually afford. Maybe it's gonna be like his last play. Maybe it'll be his Hail Mary. Because that's where it feels like we're going right now. Astrea realizes that the opponent doesn't have a lot of stuff anymore, so he's starting to build up static defense because he does have the resources to still dump some of those minerals. Brilliant game. Really well managed here by Astrea. I love it. If we look at some of the engagements in isolation and some of the recalls in particular in isolation, I think there has been some improvements, or there were some improvements that he could have made, but overall, strategically, this is extremely well done. All he needs to do right now is make sure that ByuN does not get a new base, and that should be one of the easiest parts of this game. This army, of course, has to be dealt with, but Astrea should have the numbers here. Okay, well, this is apparently where ByuN is gonna try and pull off one of his micro moves. Some feedbacks right now as well on those ghosts, though. There's still enough storms available. There's still enough purification novas. There's still a battery overcharge. Even Micro Jackson himself is not gonna be able to moonwalk his way out of this situation. Hee hee. Okay, no way. No way. GG. Game number 2. We find ourselves on Site Delta. Whew. If every game is gonna be like that, this is going to be a very, very long series. Now, if you're enjoying it so far, please do me a favor. Hit the like button down below the video. It really does help. One of the easiest things you can do. I know it's a little annoying. Every YouTuber under the sun is always like, oh, can you hit the like? No, actually, nobody asks if you can hit it. Everybody asks if you can smash it. Anyways, it really does help. So if you wanted to support the channel, that is probably the easiest thing you can do. And while you're at it, I believe YouTube also wants me to guilt trip my viewers, where they're like looking at the statistics and the percentage of viewers that is subscribed to the channel. And I believe I'm supposed to guilt trip you in saying that, like, I think 50% or so of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. So you're yeah. So if you want to feed my ego, maybe help me get to 1 million subscribers one day. That would be, yeah, I think that's a very high goal to aim for. But if you want to, you know, watch more StarCraft, maybe some other RTS games in the future, you can hit the subscribe button too. Yeah, you don't have to smash it. You can just gently caress it instead, okay? Gently caress the bell icon. Now, all jokes aside, it really is one of the easiest things you can do to support a channel. Alrighty, so what are we gonna do this time around? I am fully assuming that we are gonna once more play a nice long macro game. Keep in mind that the previous match started off with ByuN going for a bunch of proxy barracks, and Astrea responding by going Stalker, Stalker, Sentry, into Robo Bay. So that is quite an unorthodox way to open up as Protoss. Generally speaking, yeah, we don't see a start like that. Usually, it's a Blink Stalker opener, and if it's not a Blink Stalker opener, it's a Stargate opener. I would say probably 7 out of 10 games of Protoss versus Terran, Protoss will go for a Twilight Council. 2 out of 10 games, they will go for a Stargate instead. And then 1 out of 10, it's something else. And we kind of had that something else in the previous match. Now, it's going to be a very common start here this time around for Astrea. And I'm going to make the assumption that this will be a very quick Blink opener. Blink is usually what you do. In the meantime, though, ByuN has decided to go for one of ByuN's favorite builds. This is a super risky one. So he's opening up. So this is what ByuN does, right? He opens up Scoutless. He skips the Reaper. He goes straight Reactor, pumps out a bunch of Marines, and then builds triple Command Center in total. This is the please don't attack me because I'm gonna die opener here from ByuN. A fantastic build to play at the pro level in tournaments. Terrible strategy on the ladder, because I think half of the Protoss opponents you're going up against are going to be building gateways on your side of the map. Luckily here, Astrea is a gentleman, and it looks like ByuN is going to be able to get away with it. It's going to result in triple Command Center, triple Barracks. Eventually, we're going to see a Factory, and then eventually a Starport too. We'll probably see double Tech Lab on these. So this one is going to get Stimpack, the other one is going to get Combat Shields. It's an exceptionally greedy build that really doesn't make sense, especially when you're 1-0 behind in a best-of-5 series. But in ByuN's mind, it makes so little sense that the opponent also realizes that it makes no sense, and therefore he can get away with it. Because there's a very, very small chance that Astrea is going to hard counter something like this. That is, of course, what makes ByuN such a good player. Very unpredictable. We're even going to go into the +1 air or +1 ground attack spot, rather, for the infantry units. It is going to be a very powerful start here for the Terran player. It looks like Astrea is going to allow the opponent to get away with it. It's double gateway for now. Double gateway with a shield battery at the very least. Are we going to go third Nexus? I actually think that might be the best response right now. Yeah. So third Nexus off of 2 gateways is technically very risky. Robo Bay on the back it is too. So this is not the fastest possible third by any means. But I think it's safe enough. Main problem, of course, for Protoss is that he doesn't know. Like, this is all Astrea has seen. Not until this observer gets into the base will he actually realize what he's playing against. And he's already sending it in such a direction. I think he knows what's going on. He's sending it exactly where the command center is located. And there you go. Astrea now knows. He's got confirmation about what exactly it is he's playing against. ByuN actually saving up energy. He knows that Astrea has been doing a lot of cheeky Dark Templar openers. Not the case this time around. But honestly, Astrea is already... yeah, he's already allowed his opponent to get away with murder. ByuN hitting a bit of a supply block. A small one. But it's still a supply block. Ultimately, we'll see the Terran player move out when all of these upgrades are done. +1 combat shields, and we even have the slow upgrade as well for all of the Marauders, the concussive shells. The thing is, though, again, with the timing of the Robo Bay, Astrea is gonna have a really nice set of units to deal with that very first major attack. Oh. Revenge for Probius. He should be able to get even the ranged upgrade for the Colossi done in time. And this is all lining up very, very well here for Astrea. So you can see here that he had the understanding of what it was that Terran was going for. It's still a delicate dance, though. Like, the attack that's coming in right now from ByuN is still something you have to respect and that you can very easily miss micro against. So losing 1 Stalker just like that is already a little bit sloppy. Second Colossus will be coming up. Charge is going to finish up too. Astrea now sitting on 6 gateways. I think he's got more than enough, though. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You can still miscontrol this. There's a lot of Marauders in the mix. Nicely done so far by Astrea, although he needs to blink, yeah. Second Colossus running in. Keep in mind that every stim here is expensive, but one of the Colossi is not fast enough. Second Colossus does get within range right there of the shield battery overcharge, but also ends up going down. We do have blink available, of course. So Astrea decides to hunt one of the medevacs down. Would have loved to see him target fire down that second one too. Oh! One of the stalkers took the long way around and ultimately caught that medevac on the retreat. And what do we do on the back of this? Instant Dark Shrine. Okay. Now that was still a good attack though for ByuN. ByuN trading a bunch of Marines and Marauders for expensive units like the Colossi, but also of course the Immortal. Main problem here for Protoss is that you still need the Robo facility, right? So you can only make one of them. It's not just a resource cost, you can only make one of them at a time out of a single Robo. Whereas ByuN is gonna have the option to make about, well, you can see over here, a whole load of Marines and Marauders all at the same time. So usually whenever it's a wash in the fights, and you see the Robo facility units going down and a bunch of biological units on the side of the Terran, it will be a trade rather, that Terran is pretty happy with. Armory will allow him to go straight into +2, together with the +2. We are gonna continue the fighting over here. Astrea still hanging out in the middle of the map. He does have the extended thermal lens right now, but imagine this army with an additional Colossus, or even 2 additional Colossi. It would have been massive. ByuN is now gonna start really climbing in that supply count. The Dark Templar at this point, honestly, need to deal damage. This is not really a macro DT opener anymore, right? This is very much so something that needs to deal damage. Because the next attack from ByuN is gonna hit like a truck. Unless ByuN waits until 2-2 is done, which I don't think he's gonna do, because it's ByuN. ByuN usually doesn't wait for such things. Prism goes down. There are plenty of scans available, a lot of energy saved up. Dark Templar are everywhere though, trying to be a nuisance. A couple Zealots there in the natural mineral line too. Protoss in the meantime engaging here in the middle of the map, but I think he's been poking the bear. Terran is gonna start heading across the map momentarily. He could wait until 2-2 is finished. That's gonna be the big power spike. Quite a few SCV kills though. Yeah. The main problem here is that Astrea never really got particularly far ahead economically. ByuN took a massive gamble early on, and because of that, his eco right now is as good as it is. And because of a couple of sloppy trades, or suboptimal trades here from the Protoss, this army here from Terran is just looking lethal. One Colossus dies within about half a second. Most of the Terran army is currently distracted fighting the Nexus. ByuN is feeling so confident that he doesn't even want to fight this army head on. I don't think he really needed to do it like that, but he just had the numbers advantage. Game number 3. We find ourselves on Post Youth. We have Dr. Hansen. We have... I think this is the Murloc Space Marine, isn't it? I think that's the Murloc. We also have the Marine holding up his hand and waving hello to everybody while dropping out of a medevac, it seems. All right, we also have a Twilight Council opener. I've decided to fast forward through the first couple minutes of the game. Ooh, we have Nova. All right. We have Nova twice. Look at these guys. Yeah, these are StarCraft fans looking at posters of Nova. Look, I get it, I get it. It is a nice vulture bike. I get it, I get it. I'm all distracted now. I've completely lost my train of thought. Right, we've got a very normal opener. I've decided to fast forward through the first couple minutes of the game because everything has been very, very normal. It's gonna be a blink opener here for Astrea. Straight blink, that is. We'll have to see how many gateways he decides to produce this time around. So last time he went for double gateway, a robo facility, shield battery, and then a robo bay before making the third. It's a little bit different. In the previous game, we saw ByuN going into... Oh, we already have a sentry. All right. In the previous game, we saw ByuN going into triple CC off of a single barracks. So far for Astrea, yeah, he knows that this is already a bit different because he has seen the timing right here of the factory. So he already knows that this is unlikely going to be a very fast triple CC. This is very likely going to be a very quick 1-1-1 instead. So one barracks, one factory, and then also a starport. Here we go. The medevac is moving out. It's gonna take a little while before it gets across the map. Even the boost is not gonna hurry it up that quickly, but it is going to try and be annoying. Now, we already have 2 sentries. 2 sentries is weird to me, man. That's a lot of sentries. 100 gas each. He knows the timing, so this up... This is so awkward. No, don't tell me it's actually gonna work. This drop is late. Alright. Astrea knew the timing at which that drop was quote-unquote supposed to arrive. So he already moved the units out of the position there. He's like, oh, I guess it's not a medevac drop. Alright, well, ultimately only 2 probes go down. And that is exactly what he's hoping for. There is still going to be that threat, I guess, of the medevac drop that will come back in, but it'll be okay. It's going to force a couple of the stalkers, or at least a unit or 2, to be parked right over on that side of the map. It's going to prevent the all-army hotkey. Oh, no. I don't think that's an issue, though, for Astrea. Alright, so in the meantime, we have ByuN's just teching up slowly but surely. He will be going into the Stimpack research here, I'm sure. There it is. And we should be able to see the +1 infantry attacks coming up in the NG bay momentarily. And we'll obviously also have combat shields in the future. Looks like the Widowmine drop has once more gone in, but this time around, no damage dealt. Robo Bay. Astrea is going to be able to go into the Colossus once more. And it's interesting how in every single one of these games, right, from both of the players, we've seen a different opener. We've seen a different start. But all the roads do still lead towards a very similar mid-game. Quick, look at the portrait of... Okay, the Marines are not... Look at these guys. Look at these guys. Yeah. They're very close to the television. That's how my cats usually watch TV. Anyways, my cats watch TV, yes. I allow it until they make a swipe at the TV, which has happened multiple times. When Milo was little, he actually jumped on top of the TV. And he kind of treated it like he was like a rooster, you know, like a chicken ready to go to bed. Except he was perched right on top of my television, which was kind of scary. Because he does not jump off delicately. He's like, no. We push off. We jump away. Nice little bit of harassment here by ByuN's, using a Banshee or 2. But ultimately, right, all of this aggression is both players really just once more checking each other and making sure that the opponent isn't doing anything too weird. 11 probes is quite a lot. 11 probe kills is not a bad start here at all for ByuN's. But the thing is, it's also been quite costly, right? It's not like he has made all of those units. The Banshee, the second Banshee, will likely go down as well soon. Oh, it's already dead. Did it just die? Okay, anyways. There's a lot of losses as well on the side of the Terran player. So even though it's easy to look just at the worker losses here and like, oh, 11 probes, that's amazing. Astrea has had a faster third base. The third base only just now finishing up for ByuN's. Orbital Command is still morphing in. All those worker losses are quite negligible. And at this point, these attacks from ByuN's are going to be much easier to hold. Just not as many units. Maybe you can kind of have a distraction over here, but that also got shut down easy peasy. The 2 Marauders were dropped off. Or the 1 Marauder. But Astrea is going to use this as an opportunity now to, of course, go into the Dark Shrine. The man loves Dark Templar. But then also a 4th base. I never really thought that Dark Templar were going to be like a proper core unit. Yet here we are. It's funny, because whenever I talk to anybody at like an esports event or whatever that like, you know... For example, at the EWC, I talked to a lot of people that kind of watched StarCraft 2 back in the day, or they played some of it. They all remember the Dark Templar cheeses. Everybody knows Dark Templar rushes. And I think when a lot of people see the Dark Templar, the first thing they think of is cheese, right? Early game aggression. Is there detection? There's no detection, so it's GG, right? That used to be how the Dark Templar was played for many, many years. But that's not really how it's done anymore these days. It's very much so a distraction, trying to get value out of it, so the unit obviously is quite costly. But if you can force a scan, get a couple kills here and there, it's still, such a fun unit. I really do like the DTs. It's an APM limitation. That's what it is. Technically, it's something that can be cleaned up really well if ByuN was a robot. But sadly for him, he's got the weaknesses that come with being a human. And you know what? These DTs, look at them. 16 kills? There's still one going to town over here. There was a scan in this location, but ByuN did not quite get it done. 20 workers? He doesn't have energy. He's body blocking it right now until the missile turret finishes up, which is of course also a detector. The man in the missile turret. He's got a scan built in. This is the scan right over here, that little red marker. Lovely work right there from Astrea. And even though he really did not expect that, I don't think he can get much more. So that was what, 3 scans? And what, 19 SCVs or so? For 3 Dark Templar? Well, that suddenly changes the entire game. He needs to be careful he doesn't go out onto the map right now, though. This is not yet the time to fight the Terran. I think you kind of hang out for a little bit longer. I mean, maybe you can fight it. Yeah, ByuN is starting to split up his units, because that's what he always does. Yeah, the kiting here. Lovely work by ByuN. The kiting here has been really strong. ByuN trying to invite his opponent into a concave, but there's an observer here that sees the exact setup. So Astrea realizing that that wasn't everything! Oh my... Whew. A spare. Pretty good. Not quite a strike. He's gonna get another shot with at least one of those disruptors. Poor guys. Okay. Honestly, 1 Marine and a scan is already not a terrible trade. If you can do that in conjunction with another attack that's going on at the same time too, that's actually a good trade. Because obviously, sending in a Dark Templar is like 2 actions, but defending against the Dark Templar is at least like 10. Right? So in a game that's ultimately at the highest level, very much so an APM limitation game. Oh, he catches a lot of the Terran army here. Sloppy mistake right here from ByuN. Loses like, well, maybe 10 supply worth of units for essentially free. He was busy microing on the other side, but... Anyways, if you can distract your opponent and do multiples of those attacks all at the same time, it's a very strong play. ByuN finally trying to secure the low ground expansion too, but this is the one that Astrea has had for ages. He's already double expended since then. Gravitic Drive is going to finish up. That's the Warp Prism speed. The gateways are coming up. We've been constantly seeing about 20 to 25 gateways here from Terrans, or from Protoss rather. No gateways available for Terrans, I'm afraid. Yeah, 10 additional gates on the production tab. We already have 12. Here we go. The Novas are coming in. ByuN has found a bit of a concave. That line of sight blocker is also making this fight a little bit more complex. Colossi are very exposed. Astrea was extremely far ahead just now, but did he just throw in the towel? That was one of the absolute worst engagements he could have taken. Obviously, props to ByuN for spotting that and immediately jumping on the opportunity. He was inviting his opponent to make a bad decision 17 times already, and Astrea deflected it the first 16 times, but my god, was that about the best engagement ByuN could have ever had. There's still a lot of money available though here for Astrea, so he's gonna be able to warp in reinforcements. He decides to take this fight before sending in another round of units. I don't know if I fully agree with this, but I think Astrea can still get back here. Yeah, he can still stay alive at least. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that's an absolute nosedive over here for the Protoss. This is the army size plotted in supply. Army over time, supply on the y-axis here, and it's a big drop all of a sudden here. That shouldn't have happened because Astrea had the higher tier units. ByuN is now going to finish up +3/+3 as well for the bio units very soon. He wants to continue this aggression because he feels like he's got momentum going, but I don't really know. I don't know if I really agree with that. Does he know about these expansions? No, he doesn't know about any of these. So he's been on the back foot for such a long time that he's felt like he can't really play this game anymore, and he's just trying to take shots at the opponent, and suddenly he found the perfect opportunity. I think if he knew that those expansions were taken, careful! If he knew that those bases were taken, he could have gone after it. Okay. That's my impression of a ghost dying. Okay. Astrea needs to take a moment here to breathe. Because he's trying to throw the game, and I think he would be better off not doing that. How exactly do you proceed from here, though? That's the question. How do you go forward from here? We have a bio army zooming through the middle of the map. Astrea, for some reason, all the way in the top left. A little costly. It's gonna recall. Okay, he's gonna just... I think this is mostly just a recall scare. You can never see as Terran what is actually gonna be recalled. So you just kind of hope that, you know, it's gonna be enough to scare away that Terran army. One Dark Templar looking away from that Terran army, so hopefully he can stay hidden. It looks like for now he is indeed going to be able to get away with it. Finally, ByuN has figured out that there may be expansions over here. He's seen a pylon, but this is also right at the moment where Astrea decides to, well, shut down this expansion. ByuN's going to try and trade a base for a base, which I think will be okay for him. Especially since he's going to get most of the probes here. He just needs to be careful that this army does not get caught in this corner. Some of the units, there was no room for them in the plane, so they will go down. As these units are going down, though, there's also a fight happening once more through the center lane of this map. Okay, a couple of Widow Mines get some good detonations in. Disruptors still make it difficult, though, for ByuN to really continue chasing all of this. There's the Stargate. We'll probably see a fleet beacon, and then into a mama ship again. Okay. The main and the orbital command in the natural have already been flying around. This has been a game where ByuN... Oh my god, he decides to go in so far. What? Oh, I think that's a little too far, ByuN. We got a little overly ambitious. He did force the cancel on that base. In the meantime, the Dark Templar have joined forces together with the Zealots. Ooh. It becomes a very difficult game to read, right? Especially when you do take a big advantage all of a sudden. When you were slightly behind at that point. So again, we have perfect vision of exactly where the game is at, but these guys have to continuously guess as to their current situation. And I think ByuN is getting a little bit over-eager. Okay, I do like this little hit squad of Marines, though. The Marauders coming in from the side, and this is once again a concave that may very well work out amazingly here for ByuN. He's trying to stutter step as many of these fights as he possibly can. Stands his ground in the right locations too. Dark Templar have joined in. Another fight here, once more started up on the left side. In the meantime, ByuN did re-land that command center here, and he has, been mining a little bit more. Oh, this game slipping out of Astrea's hands would certainly be a bit of a tilter. He's been taking some very questionable fights. And that's what makes this game extremely hard for him. Oh, big EMP. Lovely EMP. At this point, honestly, it feels like Astrea needs a big disruptor hit. He's got a lot of disruptors, so that's nice and all. But his standing army is no match for that of the Terran. He wants to continue fighting this because he realizes he's got the advantage, but he also needs to be careful because he's been fighting for such a long time that the medevacs are fully out of energy, and the Terran army is only about maybe 3/4 of the way full HP. Reinforcing bio units, though, have made their way towards the bottom right-hand corner. ByuN is going to be able to kill that base. We did have another Nova there, it looks like, dealing some damage. But I believe what was looking like an amazing game for Astrea has slipped out of his hands. Beautiful work here by ByuN, inviting his opponent into multiple situations. He did that about 10 times. Astrea took the bait twice. And those fights just went terribly wrong for him. Disruptor gets targeted down before the Nova detonates. GG is called. It's ByuN who gets another point on the board. Alrighty, next up, we find ourselves on Alcyone. Match point right here for ByuN. He's decided to go once more for a ByuN special here. So it's a double gas opener, but he's only mining with 3 SCVs right now. Rushing out the double Reaper, rushing out the factory, and then ultimately going for a command center on the low ground. In the meantime, on the other side, we've got ourselves a couple idle probes. That's a little weird. Don't know why there were 2 probes sitting there. Together with the Twilight Council, though, so this should once more just be a pretty normal opener. Astrea not really bothering with scouting this time around, at least not until the Adept. So he doesn't know about this setup. And this is always that, yeah, combination of units that hits really hard. Oh, lucky Astrea there. Instant recall as soon as he realized what he was playing against. Those grenades, of course, don't deal much damage, but they still deal a little bit. So ByuN, upon seeing the recall, immediately threw both of the grenades in the same location. The Reaper, though, may still, or the Adepts rather, or rather this little hit squad, yeah, they're still going to be able to get the final hit. Now a probe is also going to deal a bunch of damage. Take a bunch of it. 2 probes already have gone down. Can we get a third? Okay, and that fully justifies his opener here for ByuN. Cyclone on the back of this too. 2nd barracks. So he's delaying the starport. Yeah, we're just doubling down on all of the aggression here. This is going to be one of those games. Now, it's a great idea until ultimately the Blink upgrade finishes up. We've all seen how strong Blink is on the other side of the map when Terran has got siege tanks and a bunch of, well, bio units set up and maybe a bunker or 2, right? Like, we've all seen how strong that setup can be for Terran. But we've also seen, well, Protoss just overwhelm Terran at that stage in the game. It's important here for ByuN to not give away too many units, because the Blink Stalkers are going to hit very hard. It's going to be 3 gateways this time around. Astrea has been going 2 gateways every game so far. He's already mixed in a 3rd one, so he's certainly looking to be a little bit more aggressive here. Double gas on the back of this. There's a robo facility. Maybe he'll go for a robo bay once more. He's skipping the shield battery at the front too. I guess he already got one over here. Forced to make that a little earlier. Oh, we're gonna go into a Templar Archives. Do we then also go charge on the back of this? Like, where exactly are we gonna take this? Are we gonna go Archon Zealot ultimately, or are we gonna go straight into Storm? Main thing here for Astrea is that he's gonna have a trickier time now taking a 3rd. So this is one of those setups where he is basically handed the 3rd base for free if he wants it. And he's like, nah, we're not doing that right now. We will still take one eventually, but this is not a fast 3rd base. Yeah, he's gonna go charge. So a little curious here. I guess he knows that the opponent knows that it's very likely going to be a Blink Stalker follow-up. So he's decided to just play into that and not even really try the Blink Stalker follow-up. Yeah, ByuN did see the addition of some gateways, but this is the real gateway explosion right now. 3 additional ones on the production tab, and there's Storm. Now, the Templar Archives has been done for about a minute, so I think he wanted to start up that upgrade a bit sooner. Goes around the side, doesn't really get anything done. Okay. This is making all of it a little awkward though. ByuN has now seen the timing as well of the 3rd Nexus. A Cyclone for for some reason is the one that got tasked with scouting. Cyclone, I guess, won't live for much longer. Observer goes down. Yeah, I guess one thing that Astrea can quite easily do is contain the Terran player here. It's not easy for Terran really to make a move out and go into a third base, but he doesn't really need to be too fancy. Gonna get the kill easy peasy right there on one of those Cyclones, and Storm is going to finish up. There are already 3 high Templar accumulating energy. 75 energy for a Storm. This one almost has enough as well. Stalkers in the meantime being microed here, dealing some damage to the siege tank. This is not a good moment to go and move out, ByuN. I know this is quite a strange game to read right now, and maybe this medevac drop can get something done. But this main attack that ByuN is going for right now is looking like it's just gonna get overwhelmed. Already though, a lot of damage is being done here by the Terran player. He's gonna shut down some of the production here. You will now see the high Templar. Zealot run by, in the meantime in a natural expansion. Okay, fair enough. Medevac drop does get deflected. I think driving back home here is 100% the right call. Yeah, he would get overwhelmed very quickly. One well-placed Storm and it would be the end for a lot of these bio units. So good play right there from ByuN. May have been tempting to go for a move out at the standard time, but this is clearly one of those situations where Astrea would be able to overwhelm it. Third command center is eventually going to finish up. Now, of course, this is much later than the third Nexus. So Astrea has had an economical advantage for a little bit. These peaks are, of course, whenever ByuN lands a couple mules. Marines from the low ground. Storm. Ooh, big Storm. Ooh, awkward moving over here. Those medevacs could have boosted in and saved a bunch of those units, but that's still 1 plane's worth of units going down. About 10 supply. Okay. A lot of Widow Mines set up over here, hoping to catch a Zealot run by. This is, of course, a popular section of the map where Zealots will run by. If ByuN gets a big detonation here on like 10 Zealots, that could be the end of the game. A lot of Storms here, though. Storm! Another big one. Oh, slow reaction once more here from ByuN. Okay. Astrea here setting up a single pylon. I don't think you want to warp in Zealots over here, dude. I don't think this is the spot that you think it is. ByuN is like, yes. Yes, buddy. Please warp them in. Perfect spot for me. Okay. This has turned into a very complex game, though, for both players, because neither of them really has committed to any real timing attack. Oh, I don't think you killed this. What? I mean, maybe you do need to kill this, but I feel like it's the easiest bait of your life. I feel like keeping that pylon around for, yeah, the 100 minerals worth. I think it's worth it, but... Okay. Medevac drop. Well, it's 4 full medevacs, rather. It's gonna take stuff down real rapidly. He does need to fire up 2-2. Oh, no. This is such a sloppy mistake. He's actually forgotten the armory. Or he's delayed it for a very long time on purpose, but that armory should have been done by now. Protoss going straight into the double upgrades themselves. Big Storms once again coming in from the main base. Medevac here is going to chase this down. In the meantime, there is also a fight happening up north. Okay, we have 1 more Storm available. That is it right over here. But I believe that there's enough units available for Astrea to hold on to that expansion, but then at the same time also shut down this attack at the bottom. ByuN making a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes, and I think he's gonna get punished for it. It's a little scary here for Astrea to really commit, but he should have more than enough. The Zealots are split off from the rest. Some of them are gonna get recalled. 9 SCVs have already gone down. At least the command center is still around. This is something that Astrea will see right now, and I don't think he's gonna allow it. I don't think he's going to allow a planetary fortress to be set up. We still have plenty of energy. Decides to go for a ton of feedbacks there. So shutting down each individual ghost. Command Center gets shut down as well by those stalkers, and I think that just now sealed the deal. That has completely taken the wind out of ByuN's sails. He's gonna go into a 4th command center, fair enough. He's got +2/+2 coming now, fair enough, but all of this is now minutes behind. In every pillar of the game, be it like army size, economy size, the amount of bases that he's got, the amount of upgrades that like everything he's behind right now. So coming back in this situation is gonna be tough. He's gonna need to land some amazing EMPs or maybe catch the opponent off guard with a drop. But this is a perfect opportunity for Astrea to try and get the score evened up in this series. Couple of run-bys here trying to be annoying. More SCVs go down. Big warp in the main base too. And in the meantime, the majority of the Protoss army is attacking at the front. Another one of the ghosts gets targeted down. One well-placed storm, and I think it's the end of this Terran army. Well, we don't even need it. GG is called. We are going to game number 5. And that means that it all comes down to Oceanborn. Final game in this best of 5 series. The Probe and the Reaper high-fived in the middle of the map. You love to see it, but immediately ByuN was like, wait a second. That guy is not a Terran unit! Quick, send it out! Ooh, okay, so I fast-forwarded through the first 2 minutes. We've got a Marauder opener coming up here for ByuN. This is a ballsy play for a game 5. A single Zealot was also sent across the map. Slowing down this SCV is gonna be annoying, but he does need to kill it, yeah. The Marauder here at this point in the game though is something you really don't expect to see. If he can actually force this command center to never finish, that would be incredible for Astrea. So both players have decided to just send everything they've got in the early game straight across the map. Now, the second Marauder is out, and that's gonna make this game very manageable. Adept will be able to sneak away just barely in time. We're doing a Dark Templar. Okay, hold up. So we're doing a Marauder rush against a Dark Templar rush in the final game of a best of 5. Like, this is what it all boils down to. We've had some phenomenal macro games, but you can see that the fatigue is starting to settle in. Game 3 was quite sloppy from Astrea. Game 4 was very sloppy from ByuN. These guys have now been going at it for a long time. This is how we ultimately... Alright. This is how we settle it. Proxy pylon on the other side of the map. A robo facility coming up here for Astrea too. Okay, now this is mostly just used as base safety for now though. I don't think that was the original plan here for ByuN. Or maybe he knew that something was coming here from the opponent. Maybe he knew that this is what Astrea likes to do currently on Oceanborn. This is a big commitment though here from Astrea. Like, these Dark Templar, they aren't free, right? So you need to get something done, at least to scan each Dark Templar. If you accidentally have like 2 DTs caught in one scan, suddenly Terran is in a really good position. I'm assuming we're gonna see multiples of them. Widowmine drop now also flying across the map. Will this be scouted? Oh! He had it on the radar for about a 1/10 of a second twice. I hope Astrea didn't blink. Well, I mean, he's researching that right now, so I guess he can't at the moment. Alright. No, I'm assuming he did not see that, because that was incredibly fast. He's also going to be quite focused on the other side of the map now. These Widowmines can actually end the game as well. Okay, good reaction. Yeah, that was not quite as optimal as we've seen in the previous games, but here's the Dark Templar running in. The Prism is now also heading on over towards the main base. Okay. 3 probes and a Stalker going down. Scanning the main base is gonna shut this down relatively easily. Astrea wanted to do another warp in, but does not quite get the work in. Yeah. I think in isolation, the Dark Templar have been okay. Main problem is that they're difficult to use for the next couple minutes, right? Like, they're good in the early game, and then they become good again in the mid game. But there's this awkward moment where DTs do kind of feel like they fall off. That's exactly what Astrea is trying to cover right now by going into Blink. But there's already a lot of Marauders out. We're already talking 6 Marauders and 6 Marines. That is more Marauders than you normally have at this point in the game. And Marauders are really good, of course, against Stalkers. Now, what they really suck against is Immortals. This is a very complex jigsaw puzzle right now, right? Where they're trying to force the pieces together. Oh, don't lose the Prism. He did already lose the Dark Templar. SCVs are going to be used to repair the supply depot there. Okay. Robo Bay on the back of this. Astrea starting to tech up. Of course, he started up a 3rd Nexus as well a little while ago. ByuN did not forget about the +1 and then into the combat shield research. He already has Stimpack and the concussive shells upgrade done, but no combat shields, but it's not really that many Marines. Honestly, these units hit really hard. If you can get a kill on the Nexus, that might be the end of the game. Couple Stalkers in the meantime being annoying, but Marauders are going to be able to clean those up too. Oh, he snipes the units. He snipes the most expensive units. Battery overcharge is not going to save you now. I think he can target the Nexus. Yeah, he wants to go for guaranteed damage. He doesn't really know exactly where the Protoss army is located. Kills a bunch of probes. But sniping those robo units is absolutely massive. The Nexus itself goes down too. Stalkers have made their way all the way back. The Prism is here, but the robo facility is part of the wall off, so it is going to get sniped as well. Yeah, ByuN suddenly getting the maximum amount of value. I don't think he could have really hoped for much more than this. Perfect move out from him. He might not be able to win the game with this fight just yet, but here come the reinforcements, and they're going to try and see if he can seal the deal. We have some nice juggling going on with that Prism, but with only a single Immortal, it's just not easily done. A little bit of miscontrol there as well. It forces Astrea to tap out of the game. And that means that the winner of this series is none other than ByuN.